You are a musician who expresses emotion with chords, but one day you hear these chords.
But in my dreams I seem to be more honest, and I must admit you've been in quite a few.
You jump out of your chair and scream, "I too am going to play chords as emotionally gorgeous as Billie Eilish's." At which point you're faced with two problems.
First, the chords you often play feel kind of clunky. Second, even when you try to learn from artists like Billie Eilish, you end up just seeing chords that feel random.
I must admit you've been in quite a few.
So you ask yourself, is there something deeper underlying these seemingly random chords that's systematically creating this sense of emotional subtlety and also complexity? The answer is yes, there are two super powerful principles. Number one, creating complex emotions by pulling a piece of minor into a major scale. The first thing I'm confused by when I look at this progression is why there's suddenly an A flat right in the middle of a C major scale that has no flats and sharps in it. But instead, let me focus on the emotional aspect of it. I feel like this song feels both bright and positive, like a major scale, but it also has some wistfulness that's coming from a minor scale. How do you take that darkness from a minor scale and put it into a major scale?
Welcome to another exciting episode of Scale Mashup, where ordinary notes compete to travel to extraordinary new scales.
There are 3 notes in the minor scale that aren't in the major scale. Let's try pulling in each one. E flat. And it just sounds like a minor scale. Fail. The next note I can pull in is this flat 7. It just sounds like I'm playing the blues. So that leaves only one note, this A flat or flat 6. This is the only note from the minor scale that we can pull into the major scale and still have it sound both majory and minory at the same time. This flat 6 appears a lot in music.
Never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things.
We see a clear major scale, but we have that flat 6, which gives it that kind of edgy, crunchy, minory feel. But we're not fully there, because when do you use that flat 6 and why? When I try to use it on my own, I end up with something like this. I'm playing a chord, then I throw it in, then I play the next chord, then I resolve, and it sounds terrible. There's something subtle and smooth about the way Billie Eilish is doing it. There must be something deeper. Number 2, how half-step movements create emotional subtlety and coherence. What's astounding is if we look at this super simple progression, there are only super tiny, subtle half-step motions happening in it at all. You change one half-step to get to the F minor, then you slide that A flat down to a G, and the F half-step down to an E, and you're at C. The fact this sounds so good isn't a coincidence. Half-steps are the smallest, most graceful possible motion in music. In Western music.
I've always wanted to try to modulate to G half sharp. And then
mainstream Western music.
No, it's really bad.
Okay, fine, it's just the smallest possible motion on the piano, and the reason why half steps feel so smooth and natural is the same reason it feels weird to see my hand go from here to here. In the real world, we hear things transition smoothly. My hand moves across the frame, and when we do that in music, it mimics that coherence that we often feel emotionally or even physically. Half-step motion explains why the opening of Halley's Comet is so beautiful. Start off with the 1 chord, C, and then out of nowhere we jump to this E dominant 7th. We understand that we're pulling in that flat 6 minory feeling, but there's another reason we chose this specific chord. Look at how when we're on C, to move to that E dominant 7th, we just slide up a half step slide this C down a half step, leave the E right where it is, and just melt into that chord. Oh. Now, if you want to see a super extreme example of this half step smoothness and motion, take a look at this song, My Funny Valentine. So let's sit back and re-enjoy the intro to Halley's Comet with our newfound knowledge.
I don't want it, and I don't want to watch you, but in my dreams I seem to be more honest, and I must admit you've been in quite a few.
Wow. Go create some subtle, complex, beautiful chords.